It takes the cake. It wins the prize. Usually it's a bad prize or a prize for being stupid. Number 1, stupid. Number 1, horrible. You really take the cake. You win the prize. You're the biggest liar. You take the cake for lying. You're the meanest person. You take the cake for being mean. You're the cruelest person. You take the cake for being cruel. You win the prize for being bad. Welcome to the Professor English podcast, where we don't just talk about English, we practice English. My name is Ryan, and I am your host. Today, we are going to practice English by using the phrase, take the cake, which means you win the prize, usually in a bad way. It doesn't have to be bad, but all of the examples in this exercise are going to be negative because it is frequently used in a negative way. This is a listening exercise and a speaking exercise. So if you want to improve your English listening, your English speaking, and your accuracy, while also improving your vocabulary, in other words, the whole enchilada, you have found the right video. There are no long explanations, just English practice. Practice listening, practice speaking. So if you're not clear about how to use the expression take the cake, don't worry. By the end of the video, the idea will be very clear. So be sure and watch until the end. Before we begin, I just want to remind you that if you prefer some visual help with this exercise, you can always see the video version on my YouTube channel, Professor English ESL class. Now, let's dive in and start practicing English. Here is a situation. There were a lot of crazy ideas at the meeting. There were a lot of crazy ideas at the meeting. How would you say number 1 crazy? The number 1 crazy idea. The craziest idea. The craziest idea. Let's make a who had craziest idea question. Who had the craziest idea? Who had the craziest idea? Let's say Mary. Mary had the craziest idea. Mary had the craziest idea. Of all of the ideas at the meeting, of all the crazy ideas at the meeting, Mary's was the craziest. Mary's was the craziest. It was the number 1 crazy out of many crazy ideas. Let's use take the cake. Her idea won the crazy prize. Her idea won the crazy prize. Her idea took the cake. Of all of the crazy ideas, hers took the cake. Hers took the cake. It was the number 1 crazy. Of all the ideas, all the crazy ideas, her idea took the cake. Her idea took the cake. All right, fantastic job. Let's try another one. There are a lot of horrible restaurants in that city. There are a lot of horrible restaurants in that city. How would you say number 1 horrible restaurant? Number 1, the top horrible restaurant. The most horrible restaurant. The most horrible restaurant. Let's make a which restaurant most horrible question. Which restaurant? Which restaurant is the most horrible? Which restaurant is the most horrible in that city? Which restaurant is the most horrible in that city? Here is the answer. John's restaurant. John's restaurant is the most horrible. John's restaurant is the most horrible restaurant in that city. Let's use take the cake, meaning winning the prize of being the most horrible. John's restaurant takes the cake. That's the prize you get for being horrible. You get a cake. John's restaurant takes the cake Of all of the horrible restaurants in that city, John's restaurant takes the cake. John's restaurant takes the cake. Of all the horrible restaurants in that city, John's restaurant takes the cake. All right, you're doing a super duper job. Let's try another example. But before we do, I just want to remind you that if you find these exercises helpful, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel, Professor English ESL class, so that you won't miss the next lesson. And if you are watching this video on YouTube, please take a moment to press the like button. It helps my channel so much and lets me know that you want to see more fluency and listening comprehension exercises just like this one. Now, let's keep practicing English. Here is another situation. There were a lot of bad movies this year. There were a lot of bad movies this year. There were a lot of bad movies this year. How would you say number one bad? Number one bad. The top bad movie. The worst movie. The worst movie. Let's ask a which movie number one bad question. Which movie was the worst? Which movie was the worst? Which movie was the worst? And the answer is the movie they released last week. The movie they released last week was the worst. The movie they released last week was the worst. Now let's give it a prize. Let's say it was so horrible, we're going to win it a prize for being horrible. It took the cake. It took the cake. That movie last week, it took the cake. It won the prize of horrible. Of all the bad movies, the one that they released last week took the cake. Of all the bad movies, the one that they released last week took the cake. It took the cake. All right, fantastic job. Let's try one more. John has told a lot of whoppers. Whoppers. Whopper means something big. It means something really big. But you can use it to mean a really big lie. A lie that's so big it's unbelievable. A whopper. Telling a whopper. Telling a really big lie. How would you say number one big? How would you say that? Top big. The biggest. The biggest whopper. The biggest lie you could ever imagine. Let's make a when tell question. When did he tell his biggest whopper? His biggest unbelievable lie. When did he tell his biggest whopper? Here is the answer. Last night. Let's say his whopper last night wins the prize of big, unbelievable lies. The whopper he told last night took the cake. The whopper he told last night took the cake. So a whopper isn't just a lie, it's a really big, crazy lie. Of all the whoppers he told, the one he told last night took the cake. Of all the whoppers he told, the one he told last night took the cake. All right, you did a super duper job today, and you learned some fantastic English. Congratulations! I knew you could do it. Remember, practice makes perfect. So you should repeat this exercise several times, not just so that you can remember the expression take the cake, but also to improve your listening and speaking skills. It's been really fun practicing English with you today, and I hope to see you again real soon. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to press the like button. See you in the next video with more interesting words and phrases.